Okay guys, this is Racer X. I just made a video earlier, and I'm going to make another one because my brake caliper just came in from eBay. I reviewed the caliper and stripped it to see the quality. It is very high quality. It is 775 square billet aluminum made, and it came in gold because that's what I chose. It's absolutely flawless. That's all I can tell you. When you get it out of the box, the brake pads are going to be separated because of the spring in between the two pads, and as I explained in my first video, that is exactly how a brake pad should be, straight out of the kit, ready to run kit or whatever. It shouldn't be closed like it was on most of the bikes that came out of the box. So it's just a quick fix, so it's not a big deal. Anyway, getting back to this cam, or this brake setup, I'm going to go through a few things that have nothing to do with the brake caliper itself, which I highly suggest you buy. Yes, it is pricey. It is $55. Comes in different colors. I'm sure you've all seen it on eBay. It comes with the spring back spring and the pads and the separating spring for the pads, and it has a swirl cam in it, just like the stock one, so it's pretty much a duplicate on that. Now, you're going to notice once you mount it up that, see if we can get it in tune here. Okay, your brake rotor is not going to be full floating anymore. It's going to have some serious binding. It's going to cock to one side. Okay. It has nothing to do with the design of the brake caliper that just came in whatsoever. It has to do with the design of the front end and how these pieces here in aluminum were measured out, but they're measured out the same as the stock ones perfectly, because I got out my calipers and went through the whole thing on the measurements, and it's exactly the same, which tells me that the measurement on this piece in here, the little step down, is off by about, I'd probably say about 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters. So you would have to sand down the aluminum one lightly by hand, so you get an accurate ID on it, okay, which is the outer diameter, circumference of it, so it's nice and smooth. Once you do that, you can go ahead and move your rotor and axle further in. The other thing it's going to do for you is it's going to give you a lot better suspension up and down, because now the spacing is correct on the design that I came up with. So it's just a little factory defect that all the bikes have. And that's why you got binding on your disc. That's why you got binding on your brake system. It's not just always dirt or grass or whatever. It has to be like this, like perfectly spinning. Now that the whole thing's been set up, when I spin it, it's perfectly straight, as you can see, and flawless, and just keeps spinning. Okay, but if I put the brake on, it locks. I mean, it locks hard if I choose it to, because I've made the adjustments within the swirl cam, okay, on the inside by adjusting it with my fingers before I put on the arm. Once you start playing with it, you'll see exactly what I mean. I'm not going to get into a whole big deal on it. You'll figure it out. And then you use a little blue Loctite on this black screw to put it in there. It has the same spring as the stock one, the curl spring, and it's actually very nice. It's stainless steel. A lot of the pieces on it are stainless steel. The brake pads that are on it are the exact duplicate to the stock brake pads. So if you want to use Losi stock or Horizon stock brake pads on it, once these wear out, if you get this caliper, you can go ahead and do so. This company may sell brake pads for spares. I did not see any yet, but I'm sure they'll have some. So either way, you can't go wrong. You can use either pads. Will work just fine with this setup. Okay, getting back to the spacing that I was talking about right up in here. Okay, and when I sanded it down, and I took off about a millimeter and a half by sanding it. Okay, when I stripped the bike down. Now, if you go over to this side, you can see here. Okay, I put in 4 black washers that are the exact same diameter as the axle fat end, which is the step down, the thicker part of the axle that slides through this piece here. Now, the reason I did that is to take away some of the slop that was here. Even though it locks against the bearing, it still has slop. Now, once you put your 4 washers in there and you go ahead and you take this piece and slide it all the way to the end, okay? Then you go ahead and slide it all the way back in after you put your washers in, and then you hit your, excuse me, my hand shaking, your lockdown screw right here, okay, at the bottom with blue Loctite. What that's going to do is it's going to keep your suspension, hopefully I can do this, super smooth without any binding, because between the rotor binding and the caliper binding and the suspension binding, you got a whole bunch of problems going on in the front end. Now, it comes that way out of the box with those problems. So if you do as I tell you in this video, you'll cure all that. Once I put those black washers in, which I had from an old project that I was doing for aviation, you can get these washers anywhere. I don't know what size. I want to say 5 mil to 6 mil on the inner diameter, but I didn't take the time to measure them out. They just fit and it worked. Like I said, once you slide this all the way to the washers so they butt up, okay, and then lock down your black screw down here, you have a perfect measurement from here to here. Perfect. Absolutely flawlessly perfect. Let's say this black screw came undone when you're running the bike, okay? Your shock still has a proper measurement and still going to keep going. But you'll notice the screw's probably gone. Even if it doesn't come out, you still have an up and down perfect transition on your shocks at all times. And if you don't have that, you will have binding. When it comes out of the box, there's no washers there. There's just this sliding back and forth, right? Well, even though you lock it down, it's still going to slide back and forth from all the racing and running and beating that you do on it. You want it to stay in this position at all times and never move until you unscrew it and move it. That's my point, okay? Another thing that was causing a problem, and I'll get into it here, with this whole situation that I'm telling you about the perfect measurement for your tire position once it's mounted. Okay, every time your suspension goes up, sorry about that, guys, right here will rub against your shock body and just wear out the tire and take off your knobbies. I mean, destroy them. It won't do that on the Supermoto tire, but it will do it on the motocross tire. So it will take out all your knobbies on this side rubbing against here because the measurement's not correct. Once again, if you do everything I tell you in this video, these knobbies will not rub against here or here, and you're going to have a perfect spinning tire, even with your transitioning of your suspension going up and down as you're running the bike. So I know that helped you guys. Sorry, I'm just running through it real quick, and hopefully you understand everything I'm saying. It's just getting late and I'm tired. Been working on this and redoing it for quite a while. One other thing is this. On these screws here, okay, which are step down screws, on the back side, if you're using either a stock hub or you're using an aluminum hub, you want to put a 3mm washer behind each one of these on the other side of the rotor. And there's 6 of them, I believe. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to give you the proper measurement for your rotor to have its full floating effect, and also have a perfect true spin. Let me see if we can get that for you guys. Okay, see that? See how perfectly straight that is? That's the way it should be. Now when you hit brake, you have proper braking on your tire, and you'll be good to go. So like I said, I know I helped you guys out on this one. Again, it's obvious that I may even make a couple more the more that I get into this. I really didn't want to keep going with these videos, but I'll probably do a few more. But there it is, the new rotor setup. I corrected the factory problem, and I also set up the new brake rotor 100%, and it's all good, and it's real easy to do. Just do as I said, and you're all set, like I keep saying. And now you got perfect positioning. When you go to put this axle in, okay, and get those washers on, all you have to do is twist this as you're sliding the axle through and put your washers on. Now when you go to screw it in, just make sure all your washers are lined up on the steel step down on the back side of this axle. So they're all in line perfectly, and then it slides right through all the way to the other side to your nylock nut and just lock it down. So that'll do it. Once again, happy racing. Safety's number one. Have fun. Catch you soon.